Don't you hate it when that happens? Let me show you how to fix it. All right, first thing you want to do on these, well, really it's on pretty much all Remington model shotguns. You just pop these two. I mean, that's the 1100, the Sportsman 58. Of course, that was granddaddy of them all. This one, but you pop these pins back, and on each side, then you're able to pull out the trigger group like so. Now, I don't think the issue, I don't feel like there's anything wrong with the trigger group. I think it's the disconnector. So let's take a look at it and see if we have any issue. We'll come back to the trigger group if we think, you know, just to double check it while I got it apart. And but anyway, let's get inside this thing, see what we got going. Okay, actually, we got two things I think going on. All right, I don't know if y'all can see this or not, but right here on the disconnector, it's starting to round off a little bit, and right there on the edge. Now the interceptor is the interceptor latch right here. I'm going to pull it off. There's a good chance it's rounded on that side, on the side that makes contact with this right here. And it also, I'm trying to show this to you, but it's got a little bit of excessive play. This is the interceptor right here. This is what keeps the latch from, or the shell, excuse me, from the next one from coming back out. And you know, it's got a pretty good bit of play right there. It's a little bit. So let's pull it off, and we'll pull the disconnector off, and we'll fix the rounded portion. All right, now to pull the interceptor out, you're gonna have you a set of, I mean, you don't have to, but it's recommended, a real small tipped snap ring pliers. Okay, got it out. Now put that over on my homemade magnetic tray, and let's pull this out here and see what we got going on here. Gotta be careful when you're taking these guns apart that springs don't fly off, poke you in the eye, lose them on the ground. Tell you what, got to take the forestock off anyway. To take the forestock off, simple. You're gonna unscrew this. Now you got to be careful. This thing's spring loaded. That thing will shoot across the room. See? Just pull that off. Set that on your workbench. Slide that forestock off like that. We'll get to fixing that here in just a little bit. Let me show you all the crack a little bit better. You can kind of see it right there. Now that we've got the spring off of it, the plunger will stay back out of the way. Now we'll go ahead and see if we can get that off. Then it flies across the room. Anyway, it didn't go across the room, thank God. So, just like on the other side, it's more rounded. It might be bent slightly. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to sharpen this up and planish it maybe a little bit to make it a little bit wider. Now, we've got a little bit of a follower issue too. I see it. I don't know if y'all can tell, but right in here is boogered up pretty good. You know, it's supposed to have a smooth bevel. This looks like that's probably the reason why it was hanging up. The latch was hanging up when I would bolt it, even when it didn't have a shell in it. And tell you what I'm gonna try to do. I think what I'm gonna do is put this in the lathe and see if I can clean it up. You know, that way we don't have to get a new one. If not, we'll buy another one. Okay, we've got it chucked up. I'm just gonna try to just take a little off until I can just sharpen up that rounded edge so it'll stop inside the magazine tube like it's supposed to. So let's fire it up. Well, that looks a lot better. We'll test it out. You see, this right here is what rides on the, or engages the disconnector and pushes it down. And you know, if that's popping off because it's rounded and wore, but you can see, maybe you can see the wear there. And stuff like this, when you're trying to repair the part that's on this last leg. You got to balance it out, because is it worth it? You know, sometimes it is, sometimes it ain't. You got your time that you're going to put into it. But I like helping these guys out. Plus, I hate to give up on something, you know what I mean? A lot of times you can save these old parts, kind of just, you know, keep them death proof. I guess that's the way you could kind of say that. It's a lot sharper. I like that. And that's what you want. You just want it sharp so they'll engage each other and not pop off. Y'all can see that. See how much sharper that edge is. Looking at this, I'm thinking I can clean this up right here where it's kind of rounded with it on there. I'm just going to put this in a vise and see if I can get the file in there and get that cleaned up. Kind of get it up against the rubber, up against it, kind of push it. Maybe that'll help. All right, and I'll get this vise, my file. See if I can straighten that up. You see, I'm really not cutting it like that. I'm cutting this way. They call that draw filing. And I'm doing that to help keep, I want it to stay flat, and it'll cut better that way. Anyway, I like that right there. That cleaned up real good. It's a lot sharper right here along this edge. Got a little bit of a divot. I may hit that a time or two, make that a little less. That's probably where it's hitting. Let's go ahead and do that. We got to fix this crack. You know the old saying, there's many a slip between the cup and the lip. And that's true. I mean, lots of ways to do this stuff. Now, I don't always use carpenter glue. Sometimes I use AccuGlass, sometimes Pro Bond, sometimes JB Weld. It just depends on what is going on. But the wood glue is just as strong, if not stronger, than the parent material. So, you know, there's no reason to frown on it and not use it. But and I just squeeze some out, and I take that toothpick and I get some on that toothpick, just like that. And then I go in here and I open it up and I work that glue into that joint all the way down it. Now, sometimes I would break it off and start over. You know, you just got to play it by ear. You know, it's all depending on what the situation is. I find is the best way to figure out my strategy of attack. But the key is simply to be able to get enough glue, you know, to hit all the contact surfaces in there so that it's a good strong repair. I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it in the vise just like this. Snug it down real good. Now I'll get my damp towel and wipe off the excess. We'll let this go ahead and cure overnight, and then I'm going to steam the barrel and the receiver and all that, see if I can convert some of that the rust to ferroferric oxide or bluing, and put it all back together and test her out. Wasn't real sure how this one would turn out. I've never done it with this heavy of rust on it. But I mean, hell, better than nothing. Alright, now we got to get the interceptor back in. Now this is kind of tricky, trying to get it on that. There, come on baby. There we go, worked it in there. Now we're going to put our snap ring back on. Try like hell not to have it fly across the room. Son of a bitch. Let me edit that out. Hey, I got it. Not too bad. Alright. Now we'll go ahead, put the trigger group back in. I mean, it's, you just put it back in exactly like you took it out, but pop in 2 pins in. Alright, I'm going to put the spring back in, the follower and the spring, and then we'll go test it out and see what happens. Okay, we're out here on the range. It's looking pretty good, got it all back together. I think we're going to have one hell of a happy hillbilly. Rust converted to bluing pretty good. It's heavily pitted. And got the double feed fixed. Alright, I'm in it here. Gonna drink this rum. I'll see you on the next one.